And it's time for our third conversation. We're talking about women empowerment, women mental health, and we have two ladies here that are joining us to talk about what this activity is going to be about. We have Miss Renee Wentz, who's going to be conducting the activity, right? And we have Maham Varash.
Got it.
I got it. Awesome. And she's the president of the Women's Association of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat Belize. Good morning to you both.
Morning.
Good morning. How are
How are
you,
you
Miss
feeling?
Renee?
Excellent. How are
All
you
right.
guys?
We're good. We're excited for this conversation. I love mental health. I love addressing and educating and having people just come out of their shell, know about resources because it's really empowerment. So I'm so thankful that they're having this activity. But let's get into just the idea of why we're having this activity first before we get into what the activity is. So we're having a workshop really. And so that's going to be taking place April 23rd for people that are trying to wonder the data and so forth. But how did it come to be? What was the thought process behind saying we need to have a mental health awareness workshop?
So we as the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, we have a lot of ladies who are part of our community, and we try to talk to them, we try to help them out, and then we realized that the main issue that a lot of ladies that were dealing with was domestic abuse, a lot of trauma that was in their past, but they haven't dealt with it properly, and that is affecting their children, their work life, their marriage. It's affecting a lot of aspects of their life. And there's a lot of ladies who come and they have children or they have siblings or they have friends that are dealing with mental health issues, and it's not being addressed properly due to like the lack of education, due to the lack of resources. So we as the Ahmadiyya Muslim community are trying to provide a workshop so people can come and educate themselves and, you know, to help themselves, to educate themselves, but also educate others. Because it's really, really important, like as we have mentioned before, you know, to reform a nation, it starts from the woman. It starts from the, you know, from the household. So the woman is always the one who, you know, trains the children, who takes care of the children, and they need to educate their children as well. So we're trying to create this workshop to help other people, and that's the main goal behind this.
You can't pour from an empty cup either. So if a woman is going through all this trauma and this pain and these struggles, trying to feed into a child is going to be extremely difficult too as well.
Yep.
You can't feed love in if you're struggling with love for yourself.
Yeah, and as you shared, Maham, what's valuable about this activity is that you came to your community and you're like, what are the issues or what are the things that we want to address for ourselves? And I think that on its own speaks volume into addressing what's happening there, because you're not coming from, oh, I think this is what it is, you know. Or
They
just,
might need that.
they
you know?
might need that, but this is really an informed process as to how can we transform our community. So kudos for doing that background work to develop what's going to be upcoming in this activity on April 23rd. So we want to invite Ms. Renee to talk about what do you have?
What's your role? What you gonna do?
What
Well,
do you have
I want to mention that this is the second activity that at least
Okay.
I've been involved in with the women's empowerment through Ahmadiyya. A couple of years ago, I think it was a year right before COVID, we did a self-defense training, and that was a 4-week training, and I think that was very successful, and I was really impressed by being approached to offer that training through Ahmadiyya. And so this is our second time working together. And so they also knew that I am a mental health therapist. And so they asked me if I would be interested in helping them out with this. And that was exactly, Kevin, what I wanted to do was I said, I don't want to just assume what people want. I'm not going to say, here, we're going to give this to you. So I did a survey, and we had 12 respondents of the community, and they chose the top, I asked for the top 3 things they were interested in. I had a list about 12 to 15 different topics. And so the top 3 that we came up with was the first one that we're going to approach on Saturday, because I put them in order that I thought made sense, is childhood abuse and trauma. So that was one that got a lot of interest. And then the second one was depression and anxiety. And so that really leads very well into each other, because a lot of our childhood trauma and abuse that we might have in our childhood affects later on when we have depression or anxiety, whether it's an adult or child depression and anxiety. And then lastly, we're going to do stress management for this one, because I wanted to not just give everybody the horrible stuff that's going on, but I want to leave them with something that is going to be valuable, that they can take with them, they can share with other people, they can share with their families. And so when they leave, they'll have some techniques in order to help reduce stress, and also know where to get help if they want to refer somebody to further kind of mental health that wants specific mental health. And then one of the other topics that was mentioned was gender-based violence or intimate partner violence, domestic violence, whatever you want to call it. And so I said that we can't cover all of that in one half day. So I'm proposing that later on, maybe in a couple months down the road, we tackle that. We tackle that plus healthy relationships. Because I think I don't like to just talk about, again, what's bad. I want to say, if things are going wrong, here are some ways that we can make relationships better, because I think that's more effective than just talking about what's not working.
Definitely. I think the encompassing the bad or just the information, because we don't necessarily want to call it bad, but the information of what's going on with you, what you're experiencing, what other people are
Right.
experiencing, but also the tools to help you know how to cope with what you're experiencing or other
Right.
people. It's very important. And I like the fact that there's going to be another one to come, because we can't just have one and then stop the conversation. Like, it has to be continuous. And so on that same note, this one that we're having this Saturday, that's April 23rd, guys. Can you give the time again, the place? Is it an open registration? Can people just show up? What is the idea behind it?
So it is at our mosque at Masjid Noor, and it is at 1.5 miles George Price Highway. And the program starts at 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. and there is registration. We do have a $5 fee for the ladies who want to attend, because we do have limited seats. But I think that it's a really, really good opportunity for ladies to come out and educate themselves. Definitely get this training even for myself. I feel like it's very, very beneficial.
Definitely. I feel even if you don't think you have associate yourself with depression or anxiety or child trauma, you're going to meet somebody in your life that is associated with that. And you're going to love that person and want to be able to give that person tools, comfort, and just be there. So I think it's tools that everybody should be able to just grasp and take on for themselves.
Yeah.
The time is...
I have a question. When it comes to the registration, is like, people call ahead and pre-register, or they register on the day of the event?
Yeah, so you can come, and we will have a registration outside as well. So you can come. It's first come, first serve. But you can also call me at 615-2648, and you can pre-reserve your seat and then let me know that you will be attending for sure, so I can save your seat for the
Great.
event.
Love it. Thank you.
I know you mentioned it goes up to 1 p.m. Is it going to be something where they have lunch to purchase? They're going to go after...
No,
they go-
we will provide lunch.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that.
will-
There you go. So your $5 and you get lunch included. That is
I
not
know,
a bad
that is
deal.
a good
That's
deal.
a good deal
That is a
indeed.
good deal.
I love
And
it.
Ages. Is there an age limit? Can you tell us about that too as well? And it's for women specifically, we know that, but for ages.
I don't think we set an age limit for the event. We said that this was an event for all ladies to come out, and we don't have a certain limit.
Perfect. But we do have a certain limit of space. So
Yeah.
can you tell us that limit too as well, so people can know, like, I need to come out like today, I need to register, and you give your number one more time so people, in case they didn't get it, they can get it.
Sure. So we have a seat limit of 50 people. So, and my number is 615-2648. So you can call me ahead of time and book your seat before in advance.
50 is going to go fast. Definitely. So
It should
people-
for $5.
I'm
You're not
getting
going to get this
lunch.
information for $5.
Getting
And
lunch. Honestly, like, Ms. Reina, we know how you're dynamic with how you approach these different situations. You're very practical. And so I'm thinking people can be able to really get and hone in on these. I know we're not supposed to give all the information. Of course, we're going to have Saturday. But could you tell us, out of all the topics that you were giving, something that really is going to grab someone's attention that they know they need to be able to come out on Saturday to get this information from you?
One of the things that I really like to talk about when I talk about childhood abuse and trauma is to talk about the effect it has on the brain. This is something that I've done a lot of work in trauma the last few years, some extra courses, and obviously I was trained a long time ago. So if you're not keeping up with what's going on by refreshing yourself, you're behind. And so there's a lot of work now in the neurology of trauma and abuse. And so I think that's something that's going to be new to a lot of people. How does it affect your brain? And also neuroplasticity, which means how can we actually heal the brain? We used to say, and our parents used to talk to us about smoking and drinking and doing all these things that are going to kill your brain cells, and once they're gone, they're gone. That's not really true anymore. We're finding out that we can do some repair, and it takes different kinds of therapies, and different kinds of activities. But these are kind of new to a lot of people of how you can actually, how you can, you cannot just say this trauma, it's ruined me for life. It's one thing that I see a lot of people when they see maybe a case of child abuse that's often like in the news. And they'll say, oh, that child is ruined for life. I think, oh my gosh, if I was that child, later on reading about that, I don't want to know I'm ruined.
Yeah.
You're not ruined. You have challenges and you have some disadvantages maybe that other people might not have who have had different experiences. But you're not ruined. There is hope.
Yeah.
And I think that is the message I think that is most important is what are the ways that I can make advances, that I can deal with the things that have happened to me better.
Yeah.
And
Repair and
that's
hope.
really what my focus usually is on.
You know,
in these
as
things.
I heard you saying this, there's two words that came to mind, which is transformative justice, which basically is not just addressing the surface level behaviors that we're witnessing in our community, but going to the root causes of those. Because as you rightly said, by addressing those root causes, like trauma and abuse and those things, then we're able to transform things in that we put a block, like it's not going to happen again. Like we cut a cycle. So when I'm hearing you talking about this activity, that's what comes to mind. And I think that's so valuable if you want to transform our communities and make it better. So kudos, and I wish you all the best on this activity that's upcoming on Saturday.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I really want to implore women out there to not deny the pain that you have experienced, the traumas that you've experienced. Don't think you're just totally fine. Come out and be able to hear information that you may never even knew and identify different behaviors and see exactly how you can repair, how you can cope. Your life is not ruined from anything, and don't think that you're just perfectly okay, because that is not true. We're all figuring this stuff out as we go along the way. But let's figure it out together. Let's get helpful tools from experts that know these things, that are studying, that understand it. Ask your questions if you don't understand something. But thank you so much, ladies, for being here. We're looking forward to this training and also the next to come, because it's gonna be continuous. We gotta keep it going, keep the information flowing, and keep the resources just out there for people to know what's happening. But with that, we go to our next commercial break.